Good morning, everyone. It's Miss T. I hope everyone is doing well. Slept well last night. Woke up this morning in good spirits. Spent some time with the Lord and ready for your day. I just came on here today. I really don't have a topic. I just felt that I needed to let people know I'm still here. Um, so, actually, the topic or what I was thinking about this morning is the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which seems like that is out the window. Nobody goes by that because if we did, everyone would treat each other with respect and dignity and kindness and love and all the good stuff. But what has made what it has turned out to be is I'ma do unto you before you do unto me. Um, and so that takes on a whole new dynamic. You know, back in the day, I can't stress more how sin has manifested into every part of everyone's life, into the whole world. So what we started off as um, is not what's going to end up to be. So it's basically, like I said, everything that was wrong is right, everything is right is wrong. So we've all, not everyone, I try not to put all because everybody is not the same. Just like people get, some people get mad when you say um, not all white people are bad people because we're supposed to look at them as a whole and lump them all together as what happened to our ancestors and what a few group do still today. um, we like to lump them all together but get upset when we're lumped together because we don't, I'm not this, that, and that, and this, but we use the same tactic. Um, God said we're all sinners. I can't stress. We're all sinners and fall short. He didn't say that the white people are sinners. He didn't say all Japanese, all Chinese, all. He didn't. He didn't put out. He didn't point at one color of skin as being the villain. He said all, that Jesus had to die on the cross for all of our sins. So you can't separate that. So it's all, no matter what color your skin is, all what, no matter what language you speak, all, no matter what country you're from. He puts us all together. We may not, but when he looks at us, he doesn't. He just sees the separation is the sin. Um, that's the only separation he sees. Are you trying to live for the Lord? Are you trying to live by his law? Are you trying to be a good person? Or are you just evil? That's the separation. It doesn't have anything to do with your skin color. But what the world has turned out to be is that everyone thinks, we look at everyone with a um, I don't trust you. You're not, even though we might say I trust people until they give me a reason not to. We already, in our brains, we already really have, I'm not going to trust you until you give me, I don't trust you until you give me a reason to trust you. So we we keep people at a arm's length, and continuously test. So basically it's just like no one is being honest with how they feel, because men feel if they show a woman that they love them, or not all. So if I'm saying, just know my word is not all. If they show them how they feel, then that's weakness, or it gives the woman the opportunity to hurt him. Women are a little different. They've either accepted the change, like a man loves you, but he might go and be with someone else, and don't take it personally. He's just a man, and that's what men do. And so some women have accepted that as truth, but it's not. Like we have given them an excuse and accepted, like, he loves me, he's here with me, he comes home to me at night, so whatever he does, he pays bills, he puts food on the table, so whatever he does out in the street, I don't really trip. Now that's some, because there's some that will trip that we've seen it in the headlines forever. It didn't start with, just started. I'm trying to think of the lady, this was years ago, she caught her husband cheating at a hotel, and he came out with the mistress, and the wife just seen, basically what she was saying is, she just seen her whole life, the whole life she spent with this man, helping him get his self off the ground and become successful, and standing by his side. She just seen all of that, like he didn't, like she wasn't worth, or he didn't value all the things that she did, or all the things that she was to him. And she said she just seen blank, and so she hit him in the parking lot and ran and continuously ran over him several times. I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. I can't remember every name or every story, but so that's nothing new, that women sometimes can't handle the pain of being deceived, or being treated like they were nothing, when they were like the glue that held the family together. Some women will see it as, so whatever side you're on, it's wrong no matter what. So whatever side you choose, whether you choose to keep things quiet and let things go on as they are, as long as you're fine and everything's fine in your household, that still takes an emotional toll on you, because secretly you're thinking every time that this man is not home, he could possibly be with someone else. And that in alone is a stressful thing to feel, or if he comes home and he treats you some kind of way that you think is, he's trying to be standoffish, you're going to think he's been with someone else and he doesn't, so it's still, either way, it's emotional stress. It takes a toll on your physical body, takes a toll on your self-esteem, and It just makes you an unhappy person. So, on top of all the things that people have to go through in life, um, if your home is not happy, if you can't go home, or you can't wait to go home because you know you're going to have peace there, your whole life is upside down. You can't get peace at home. You don't have peace at work. You don't have peace anywhere. But men cause some men cause their home to be chaotic, and then get upset when it is chaotic, and then try to make an excuse for why not to be there. Um, if you can look yourself in the mirror and say, if I found out my wife, my girlfriend, my baby's mother um, was cheating on me, spending time with another man, giving herself to another man, telling another man that she loves him, could possibly be planning a future with this man, how would you honestly feel? Um, some men would be like, I've actually heard some men say, I wouldn't give up um, whatever. That's a lie. And you know it. Just the thought of another man touching your woman intimately will drive you into a frenzy, and we've seen it. Men are unaliving their spouses and girlfriends and whatever, and doing all kinds of stuff, unaliving themselves because they can't handle that. But they expect that the woman be strong and caring enough that she should know it doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means that from time to time I need to get out and try something new. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I have to try something new. Or men just like to have something new. You're going to have something new, all right. You know, you're being selfish, first of all, because that woman that's sitting at home, she can speculate, but she doesn't know. And even if you are out and she does know, you're jeopardizing her. She doesn't have anything to do with it. She's the innocent one sitting at home. You're the one who chooses to either protect yourself or not, or, whatever. You know how people meet each other and if you're smart when you start dating, or if you feel like you're going to be in a relationship with that person, and both of you should be adult enough to say, let's get tested for everything before we start this relationship. You can have a clean slate. You can have your mind is clear. You still would need to protect yourself, because you don't have control of someone else's mind. You don't know what someone else is, going to do. You don't know what in the mind of sin doesn't make any sense. We all know that. So in a man's mind, if he meets someone else and he decides to have a relationship with this other person, he's going to do exactly what he did to you. They might use contraceptive or condom or whatever for the first 3 months, 4 months, but then at some particular time that goes out the window, and they're not using it because for some reason after however many months they feel it's safe, even though you don't know what the person has. You didn't get tested. Neither one of you did. You don't know what was in that person's background. You just feel comfortable enough to do it unprotected. And we're seeing this all the time because men are having baby mamas Stefan Diggs, is that his name, has 4 babies due in the same year. I think he has another one on the way. So we know he's not using anything. And each time that he does that, he's taking a risk, and he's risking everyone else. I'm assuming he's risking just Cardi B, because that's supposed to be his girlfriend. But her take on it is, I'm going to give him a chance, and he better not have any more kids. I believe he does have another one on the way. I don't know if they're broke up or whatever we're calling. I don't know. But when you think about it, it's it doesn't matter what your classification or what your tax bracket or anything, because you would think, me just being honest, if I was a millionaire and I found out that my significant other or whatever he's supposed to be is cheating, I feel like I have an advantage. I'm gonna kick you to the curb, maybe go out on a month vacation somewhere in the tropical and get myself together. I'm not gonna, what do I need you for? To make myself miserable because you continuously disrespect me. And it's worse for her because she's a celebrity, so everyone reads this every day about him, him and his other women. So to me, I'm like, but she has an advantage. She could just drop him and go and have fun, go and enjoy your life. It's not like you have to work 2 jobs and think about, now I have to do this on my own, and now I have to take care of kids by myself. You have an advantage, but see, it hits everywhere. It's not, you're not immune to any of the sin that goes on in the world. Money can't buy it or take it away. Fame can't take it away. Power doesn't take it away. None of it takes away. We're all in the same boat. So if you are, dating has changed. So I mean, if you're doing the traditional way of dating, like the old-fashioned way would be meeting somebody, could be while you're pumping gas, could be while you're in the grocery store, or wherever, laundromat, wherever, and a man comes up to you and you guys just strike a conversation. Right then and there, you can basically tell how this is going to go. More or less, the woman would know, because if the man approaches you, that means he already had made up his mind that he's interested. The woman is the one who has the, can say yes or no or whatever. But since we've taken dating to another dimension, where all you have to do is go onto an app and stroll through pictures and read somebody's bio that they could have made up or stolen from someone else, or the picture that they have is from 20 years ago, or it's not even them at all. Dating has become chance. Maybe the person that you're talking to is legitimate and is who they say they are, or maybe not. I had a friend who she actually did marry him. She met him on Christian Mingle. So of course, in her mind, he's already a good guy, because he's claiming to be a Christian. And so they dated and did, got things together or whatever, and he did treat her nice. But once they were in a relationship and they moved in together, he showed that he wasn't so much of the Christian that he claimed to be. She would find that he was still going on the dating apps. She would find pornography on his computer. They got in a fight, and because he got the worst of it, she had to go to jail, and he allowed her to do that, even though he did put his hands on her. But you know, the it's who can show a bruise or who can show or whatever. So yeah, she found out he wasn't the man that he was cracked or saying he was or pretending that he was. But they're married and they have a few kids now. But I guess she chose to love him through all of that. But my point would be, if you're going to lie to me from the beginning, if our relationship was based off of a lie, what would be the whole relationship is a lie. I couldn't trust you to say I took out the garbage, or I couldn't trust you to tell me anything, because you started off lying, and that's all I see is you weren't honest. And so how can you build a relationship based on lies and deceit? Some women, just like I've discussed this before, rather have a piece of a man than no man at all. Women, and men do too, feel the older you get, you need someone in your life, because all people think about is not being old by yourself. So I'm going to do everything while I'm young. I'm going to do everything I want to do and be this horrible person or not, or see as many women as I want, or date as many men as I want. But soon as, I don't know what age, some women don't even get to that age. I mean, it's just everybody. Some women can be in their 60s and feel like they still a catch, and I'm still, going to wait for the right one. I'm not going to settle. But typically, there's an age where a woman feels that she has to be either married or with someone, because then she starts to feel like lonely, And so once they reach that age, or we reach that age, then our list of priorities kind of go down. What you're actually looking for, what a man is actually looking for in a wife, what a woman is actually looking for in a husband. They're gonna be scratching things off that list, because as you get older, that you're going to have to settle for some things. Well, that's what you think. So by the time you find that someone, your list is, you've scratched almost everything off that list. And just because they have 2 arms, 2 legs, both their eyes, then that's all that's required. And so you get in a relationship that might not even be, so I wouldn't call it a relationship, it's a partnership. I don't want to be alone, you don't want to be alone. We both, it's better to split bills than to pay them by themselves. And when you're older, you do a little different. You're not ripping and running the streets as much. So he might, go out to places. My grandfather, rest his, so my grandfather used to go to the grocery store every day, I believe he was playing the lottery. But when I would go with him, I loved my grandfather, so I loved to be around him. But I knew when it was time to go to the store, that I was going to be there forever. My grandfather knew everyone. He never met a stranger. He was people, loved to talk to him and everything. So we would be in the store forever. And I don't know why I'm saying this. I was talking about older people. Oh, because that was his, instead of being young and hitting the club and whatever, that was his get away from home, is to go to the store and have conversations with people. My grandmother, um, she really, it didn't, she was I would say as she was older, she was an introvert, but she had a lot of friends. So she just spent her time mainly, talking to her friends on the phone or whatever. But my grandfather had this outlet that he could go to the store. So it changes, it's different. And at that time, when you're older and you're settled in your ways, you really don't want to spend a lot of time together that much anyway. So I'm pretty sure when my grandfather said he was going, because my grandmother never went to the store with him. When he said he was going to the store, my grandmother probably said, reminded him what time it was, or asked him, are you going to the store today? Just to know, just to have, not saying that they didn't love each other, they was together for umpteen years. Um, but you get to a point where it no longer, there's not really sparks, and I'm not everyone, and I don't want to have to keep saying not all. So if I'm not talking to you, if it's not you, then because I don't lump everybody into all. That I don't do that. I don't think all men are cheaters. I don't think all men are whatever, the scum of the earth. I don't. I believe everyone has how they feel, and they are different. Everybody is still their own individual. So if I meet someone, I'm not going to base what I dealt with before. I'm not going to put that on you because it wasn't you. But anyways, so the spark is where to get, what the spark is really, my grandmother still made dinner for my grandfather, made his coffee or whatever. But it wasn't like I didn't see him coming up behind her and hugging her and kissing her on the cheek, or I didn't see them holding hands, walking, taking a walk or anything. I just seen them living comfortably and having companionship. Now, when my grandmother passed away first, and she was more, they were both in their 90s, but my grandmother was, you couldn't tell. They both were self-sufficient, but she kept the household running. Like, she still did all the cooking, cleaning, whatever. But when my grandmother was gone, my grandfather started to lose whatever he had. And he wanted to get, they used to go to the senior citizens place, but for a different reason, because they both would go. My grandfather wanted to continue to go, and I believe he was looking for companionship. I don't necessarily think it was looking for love. I just think he was looking for someone to be in his life and run things like my grandmother did, so he didn't have to be alone. Well, unfortunately, my aunt moved in with him, and that's another story. But at certain times in your life, what I'm saying, at certain times in your life, things are different. When you're older, men they're still trying to look for an attractive woman, or whatever, but unless you have a lot of money, men can't really, their list has to go down also. Um, that's, don't pay any attention to my dog. Um, their list has to go down too. And so everybody's list is darn near one thing on it. And so when we meet somebody or somebody says, there's somebody I want you to meet, or whatever, we basically try to overlook. We overlook some of the things that were on our list, because we're going to have to accept this person in our minds. We're going to have to accept this person. If I want to be, if I don't want to be alone, I'm going to have to accept this person as he is. So he might have a qualities that you don't like at all. He was clean. He has all his teeth. He has a good income. I guess basically that's it. And so that becomes the ideal mate. And so because we're afraid of being alone and not having companionship in our old age, because that whole thing in our head is like, the nursing home. People always think about old people. They don't have a spouse and their kids are busy living their own life, that they're quick to stick them in a nursing home. And that could be true in some families. Some families would never do that. They're going to make sure that their parents, grandparents are taken care of at home, because they still have that. I still remember my grandparents played an important part in my life. Had they not been in their right mind, right minds or whatever, I wouldn't have. They would never. My whole family would have had to fight me. If they tried to put them in a nursing home. Now, my grandfather did. They did say that he had the whatever, Alzheimer's, whatever. I just chalked it up to the man is 97 years old. He has the right to forget stuff. But he sure didn't forget my number, because whenever he needed, he would call my number. And I was jolly there on the spot. Grandpa, I don't care what time of the day. What do you need? You need me to come? You need breakfast? Okay, I'm coming. You want to go to church? I'm on my way. Whatever, because he was basically my father, because I didn't have one. But he made sure that I got to enjoy things. Like my grandfather taught me how to ice skate, taught me how to ride a bike, all those things. And I treasured those things, and I appreciated those things, and I loved him for those things. So there was no way that I don't care how busy I was, I don't care what was going on in my life, my grandfather was my priority at that time, because he needed me. If more people felt that they have this connection or this warm feeling, that somebody that he didn't have to, he could have just played the role of a grandpa. I could have, whatever that role would be, go over and see every once in a while. But he was an active part in my life. My grandfather took me to school and picked me up every day that I can remember as in elementary. So he played an active part in my life, and I thanked him for that. I appreciated him for that. I loved him for that. And so I had no problem with doing whatever I needed to do to make sure that he was okay in his older years, and his, as he was getting older. But yes, I could tell that at that age, he was just looking for companionship. He didn't even care. At that age, she doesn't even have to, You know what I'm saying. And the funny part is, my grandfather used to say all the time he wanted a seltzer, and he was meaning a cell phone, but he called it a seltzer. And I was thinking, what does he want a cell phone for? What, you know? And so I was talking to him. I said, Grandpa, what do you need a cell phone for? Well, I found out there was a older man at at the center, and he had a cell phone. Well, they would all be in a group, you know, singles, married couples, or whatever. They would all be in a group, and so there's women there, and I guess this man, older man with this cell phone, had a lot of women around him, and so my grandfather wanted a seltzer. So I decided it was we needed to get him a seltzer for his birthday. And so we did, and what how we gave it to him is we left it in the bag and we just let it ring. Of course, he never caught on to that ringing. He never said, "What is that ringing?" But anyway, when we pulled that out, he was so happy to have his seltzer. And then the journey began because he called me every day to come over and teach him how to use his seltzer. I finally got to the point. I said, just when it rings, keep it in your pocket. When it rings, I'll ring it. Just flip it open. You're not talking to nobody. Nobody's calling you. Just so you can pull it out. Just because it was, I couldn't get. He couldn't understand how to work it. So, but I thought that was so cute that he wanted a seltzer because that other man was getting attention with women because he had one. But things, like I said, have changed. This world is going to get worse. The world is worse. Um, can you wake up and imagine every day what's going to happen? Because if it's going to get worse and we're at the pits, what's going to be next? You can't just imagine the evil and all the horrible things that are around the corner. Um, so my whole thing is that if you don't have peace of mind, and you don't have comfort, um, you can't maintain, you can't live happily in this world because you're always going to be uptight, upset. You're always going to be a little depressed. You're always going to be a little bit lonely. You're always going to be wondering, thinking. You're not going to be able to enjoy yourself. You're not, and so that's when other things come into play. The joys of the world. For some reason, not some reason. I'm not even because of sin. Because this world is evil, and because nothing that is good even has to be a priority. Things have switched. So now, sex, I don't know which one comes first, money, sex, or are they the both, power, all that three things mixed together is what everybody's looking for or wants to have. Like sex is no longer between a man and a woman. It's just an addiction or a, a just a temporary fix until the next time. It's almost like it's been substituted for drugs. Like we have your drugs and sex comes with it. You have your drinking alcohol and sex comes with it. You have power and sex is always involved. So all that, it just comes together. And then when that becomes the main source of your everyday life, then once you've accomplished most of, you know, because I've heard men. Like I said, my best friend is a man, and so I have conversations, and and that's probably why I can relate to both sides. I don't, because I can get an understanding. But my friend said he was actually tired of it because it was available. You've done it so many times with so many different women, and so now it becomes mundane, or just that's just what it is. And so once you become like, I am tired of it, then you think of other ways that you can make it better. And that's where the deviant and horrible and disgusting things come into play. And that's what the route some people take, not all, because other men, they might be tired of it, but they sure ain't stopping doing it. And so this becomes, if it becomes part of your day, if it becomes a thought in your mind every single day, there's a problem. I don't know if you feel like that's not a problem because men should be thinking, but you shouldn't be thinking. That shouldn't be a part of your everyday plans. I need to go to work, finish this project, and then I'm gonna go and whatever, watch a few movies and do whatever. And men might get mad at me because there's some people that do that and they think there's nothing wrong with that. And okay, I'm just saying that if you just go through your daily routine and look at your life and write down what the major things that you have to accomplish for the day, and that's on your list every single day, every other day, every evening, there might be a problem. You might not see it as one, but I'm just saying you might look at something different, and you might check in to see how you're really feeling inside, what's going on with you inside. And for women might think about it. I really don't, unless they're the same way as the man, or if it's a addiction or whatever. Women don't really sit around and think I got movies, or they don't really have a library of movies, or have a set that's just the norm. I'm not saying that there's women that don't, but it's more different for women, because they don't usually look at it as a drug. They more or less, of course the feeling is good, but they more or less are wanting to be with that man that they care about, that they love, and so that's how that goes. But do unto others is not, like I said, it's not the golden rule anymore. I mean, it is do unto others. I'm going to do unto you what I want to do unto you. And if you do unto me how you feel you want to do unto me, there's going to be a problem. So we're just doing unto each other however. We don't care about feelings. We don't care about if we're hurting that person. We don't even want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. I'm going to tell this person whatever they need to hear to keep them, doing what I want. And then when they find out something different, I'm going to turn it around and make it their fault. It's your fault that I had to go somewhere else because you weren't giving me what I wanted, or you were complaining too much, or you you stopped taking care of yourself. You stopped, all those things. And so I had to get, so you didn't think in between that you couldn't have sat down and talked to me or her about the things that are changed in the way you feel that they're being changed, and maybe we can talk through it. No, I'm just going to let you stay the way you are because you're a good mother. You're a good cook. You take care. You stand on business. You take care of my business when I need it. But I'm gonna go over here and just fool around with her because she don't have all them qualities that you have. She just has good um, sex. She just does stuff that you don't do. And I like her, but I'm thinking since she does those things to me, she does it with other men. So I'm not gonna make her my wife. I want to stay with you because you look good for me, for my appearances, for my life. And I'm gonna come over here when I want a little uh, what's the word, when I want to turn up or have a little extra fun, because I wouldn't want to think, because most men don't want to think that their wife or their girlfriend did some freaky stuff to other men, with other men. um, and if she does, do you meet her and she does, you think it's because you would like to think it's because of you. She's doing these things because she wants to do them just for you. So their minds are already all turned up and all messed up. And I like freakiness, but I surely don't want it in my woman. I don't want her, you know, to be the woman that I'm after. I want her to be the woman that I want to portray as the great, a good woman that other men would be like, man, you're lucky. You're a lucky man. Um, but I want to go over here and play on the side. So that's where we're at as far as do unto the golden rule. There is no, it's not golden, and actually there is no rules. Everyone for themselves. Do whatever you can get away with. Don't get caught. Um, Lie if you do get caught. Just make it worse. Um, I always say this joke. I don't remember where I got it from, but I used to make my cut. She was like, "You are crazy," but I used to say, men be say, "Who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes?" And they have a way of making you think you're crazy. I know I seen you. I seen you in the car with her. We locked eyes. That wasn't me. I wasn't. I was at work. You did it, and then you start. You sit there and you're like, in your logical mind, you know good and darn well that you seen what you seen, but he has made you think that you're crazy, and then you start thinking, well, maybe I did. Did I dream that? Did maybe I didn't see? And it's ridiculous. But I'm telling you that because of nothing makes sense anymore. That's a possibility. You know what you saw, but you didn't see it, and that's a little bit of, you know what you saw. It hurt you. But if he's going to say it wasn't him, and I would never do that, and I wouldn't, you want to feel some kind of comfort, so you let your brain tell you um, it was him, but your heart and self-conscious, you put in your self-conscious that maybe it was him. I can't blame him because I don't really, it was kind of far away, and um, maybe there's somebody out here that looks like him and wears the same hat and jacket, and actually has a pair of sunglasses like the ones I bought him. And so by the time you get through picking all that through, then, you forgot about that. It'll be on to the next thing that happens, because you let that come, you let that by, and it sounds logical to you at the time, and you really want to believe that that wasn't him. And so women have to decide what is more important: your life, your love, to love yourself, to be happy with yourself, or to be miserable with someone. Is that a even exchange? um, and so once you decide that you're going to choose you, God has to be involved, because God's not going to never let you down. God's not going to um, hurt you. He's not going to make you feel bad about yourself. He's not going to um, say bad things to you when he's mad. He's not going to um, secretly do things behind your back. He's not going to see your best friend behind your back. He's not going to have a child behind you. God has nothing but good for you. He's even, holding out just for you. He's not even, when he says that Jesus' return is coming soon, he doesn't tell you when he's coming, but he warns, but you've been warned. Basically, what else do you need? He's telling you what's going to happen right before he comes. Well, if you see that happening, doesn't that just, put in your mind, I better get myself together, because I see the wars and the famine and the diseases and all the evilness and scamming. People just think of, once you find out what the new scam is, you might as well forget. There's another one that has come along, and kids are being left alone for months to take and living in squalor because mothers feel like they need to be with their boyfriends to keep their, to keep eye on them and to live their best life. And so we don't have compassion, or we don't have empathy, we don't have a heart, because all we think about is ourselves. What's going to make me happy? What can I get? And if it doesn't align with all those things, then it's not a part. It's not. I couldn't believe the story that I like to solve crimes. Not solve well. I've been always fascinated to think of the mind of a people and what they actually think, and why that we have some people that are monsters from the beginning. They have nothing. They have done nothing but evil. And there was a story of a woman. She had 3 kids, I believe, and one was living with their father, and then she had the 2 with her, and one of her kids was disabled. She couldn't walk on her own. She couldn't take care of herself. Well, the mother was up, she was a single parent, and she felt overwhelmed, and she wasn't getting, her family wasn't helping her, and she was saying that, she would ask them to help her, or could she stay with them, and they were turning her down. And so she didn't have any other choice but to tie that baby to a stroller and leave her in the closet. She said she did give her food, but what kind of, if she can't move and you had her tied in not the car seat, but the little stroller thing, how was she getting, and you didn't, and you left her there. You never checked on her. Anyways, the little girl passed away, and how they found her is, I guess, her brother went in there and found her, and then secretly reported it to the police. And the police went the first time and couldn't find her because he told her exactly where she was, and they couldn't find her. And so after he found out, they're not doing nothing, he actually went there and told the man at the gate that there's and then they called the police, and they came back out there, and they actually found her. And they couldn't see her the first time because she was covered with things, but her mother said she didn't do that. So this baby suffered. She starved, and when they were interviewing the mother, of course, instead of taking accountability, her whole thing is, if her family would have helped her, she wouldn't have had to resort to that. That doesn't make any sense. Because if you didn't want to take care of that child, you didn't have to leave her in the closet. You could have left her at one of your relatives' house. They would, or if they didn't want to take care of her, they would have called CPS. I don't know. But there was other ways of handling that than to punish that baby because you felt overwhelmed and you were mad at your family because they wouldn't help you. And she was so upset with her family that she wouldn't allow them to have a funeral. She didn't want them to be able to, mourn her or remember her because she was bitter. You should have helped me. That was her whole thing. Nobody wanted to help me when I was struggling, so no. She didn't say, I can't believe I did what I did to my child. I can't believe. None of that. Her whole thing was, she's going to continue to put the punishment and the blame on her family. And so that's what it's going to be. We wouldn't normally, back in the day, think a mother, it wasn't heard of, would do such thing, would do something like that to their child. Mothers were loving and nurturing and, usually protected the child from spankings from their father. Now that we have single parent homes and mothers doing everything on their own and having kids young instead of, doing the right way, if you don't follow the Bible, if you don't do the right thing, of course it's not going to work out right. It's not going to turn out right. So you have kids when you're young, so you didn't get to have a childhood, or you didn't get to have a early adulthood and party with your friends. So now you have these kids, and now you're wanting to take a second wind. You want to have fun and party and do this kind of stuff, and these kids are in your way. And nobody's going to help you. Nobody wants to help you. And you're mad. But you're not mad at yourself. You're mad at everybody else around you. And so, in your warped mind, because you have all these crazy ideas or crazy things in your head to punish everyone else, or to, hey, I tried to reach out for help. This is what I have to resort to. Because you couldn't possibly think that was going to be a secret forever. I'm shocked that it was stated. Evidently, they wasn't in a hurry to clean that out and get it ready to be rented to someone else. But you were going to have to know that you weren't going to get away with it. Your name was on the lease. Um, they know who lived here, and so I just the mind sin doesn't have any sense. It doesn't have any comprehension. It doesn't. Um, it just doesn't. People don't sit down and think, and we don't even have to answer the question. No, they do not. We don't ration things anymore. We don't say if I do this, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, because we read stories all the time of mothers doing to the kids. So if you don't want them, you do away with them. If you get away with it, oh well. If you don't look bad. At least I didn't roll my car into the river. At least I did. We justify doing wrong. Wrong is wrong. There is no justification. We shouldn't be saying, I wasn't as bad as that mother because she beat her, slit her or whatever. All I did was denied mine food. Women are allowing men in their life to abuse their kids and unalive them and do all kinds. I just don't. This world is just not really a good place anymore. So basically, if you want to be in a place where none of this happens, you don't even remember any of these things, you don't have to feel any of these things, then living for today means you're living for eternity. You have to remove yourself from the world, the doings of the world anyway. You can't partake. It will suck you in. It will turn you into someone else. It'll put you in predicaments that could possibly harm you or take you out of here. It's just, you have to be mindful. And if you don't wake up every morning with God, if you're not studying the Bible, if you're not praying, if you're not asking Him to be with you, it seems harder. You're not going to make it. Because there's every turn you look, every place you look is evil. You can't go to the mall and feel safe. You can't go to Walmart and feel safe. You can't go to a party and know if you're going to make it home safe. You can't meet someone and know if you start dating them that they're not going to harm you, or you're still there's nothing in your daily life. There's nothing that says you're going to be okay. You're going to make it home. You're going to live another day. Nothing. And the only thing that can guarantee that is having God in your life, serving God. He's the only one. And then at that point, when He, even when you're doing right, evil can sneak in. But knowing that at any time, if you are following Him and praying and doing those things, that if you're not here when He comes back, you're going to be awakened and taken with Him. That's a better feeling than to know that I'm going to live my life like it's, however many songs you want to add to it. Best life, live my life like it's golden, whatever. And then I'm going to pay for all the things that I did while I was living my life. And when you sit down and analyze that, or if you don't sit down and analyze that because you don't want to think about that, then you know that it's not worth it. If it was worth it to you, because I like to believe there's still some people, because we all know that there's just evil people that you can't, that's just who they want to be. God gives everybody the opportunity to turn away from what they're doing, repent, But there's some people that's just not what they want to do, because they enjoy what they're doing now. But if you still have a spark, you still have a mind to say that I know what I'm doing is not right. I know this is wrong. I know I need to stand up and be, my own person and not follow along with what they're doing because I'm afraid that they're going to call me out or make me, you know, the target, instead of standing up with God by your side and defying everything. You can't touch me. You can't make me do anything I don't want to because I have God on my side. Until people can understand that you do have God, you can turn to Him. Till people believe that that is a true statement, that there is a God, that everything that He said is going to, that has come to light, or has come to the truth. We're still living in it. He has told us everything that's going to happen, and it's happening, and we still try to just have a doubt. Well, if there's a God, then why does this happen? If there's a God, then why? Because of sin. He didn't say that you were going. He didn't say that you were going to have heaven on earth. That's not what He said. He said this is not your home. Everything here is temporary. Your home is with Him. And if you give up that opportunity to be in your home, you don't have anybody to, there's not going to be anybody to blame. You don't have to take accountability now, because we can throw everything off on, I act this way because of my childhood. I act this way because I was dropped on my head. My mom was doing this and that when she was pregnant with me, and we can do all that now, but there's no one is going to take. You have to have your own accountability in the end. Some people, I believe you can have issues because of your childhood, but you can overcome them. You don't have to stay that way. I know people have been, you can't say because I was abused or these things happened in my life that I was destined to be a horrible person, because that's not true. You just have to stay focused and stay with God. I don't know how many times I have to say it over and over, because He's the only way that you're going to survive in this evil world. I know there's other people that can witness to the fact that when you put Him in your life and you let Him take over your life, how much peaceful it is. How much you don't get uptight and worry about things that flash on the news, and people get scared and say and then run here and fro, and all the stuff that it says in the Bible. And you sit and you just say, God, that means that your word is coming to, we're getting closer, that we won't have to be in this chaotic evil place much longer. And you have to continuously pray, because you can slip at any moment. You take your eyes off, just like who was it that took their eyes off of Jesus? Was it Peter, who almost drowned? And if it wasn't, you can tell me who it was. You have to continuously keep your eyes on Him, or you can fall. He didn't say all sinners. There's going to be people that I have considered not sinners anymore, because they've done most of their life. They've done what I asked them to do, and they repent and do. He didn't say that. He still calls all of us sinners, no matter how good you think you're doing. How you have to endure till the end. You can't say, okay, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, And I just know that that's where I'm going to be. I can stop now. I can rest because all the good things that I've done and everything that He's asked me to do, I've done. And so I know that I have the key to the gate. No, you don't. God is the only one who has the key, and He's the only one who knows who's going through there. So you have to continuously ask Him to be with you, to help you make the decisions you need to make in life, to keep you from people who would love to harm you or whatever, change you into a person they want you to be. You have to stay away from people or things that make you think that the world's treasures and all these shiny things are more important in your life than being the person that God wants you to be. So that you go out and try to acquire all these things and forget your soul. So it's a continuous battle, and you have to put your armor on, has to be put on every day with God. You might have to pray 4 or 5 times a day. You might have to pick up a Bible and read a scripture 3 or 4 times, because I'm telling you, you can just at a snap of a finger, something could happen, and the way you thought you would have handled, or the way you wanted to handle it, you didn't, because you took your eyes away and you handled it the way you would have before, when you thought the world was great. So I guess I'm done with the topic that I didn't have. It took a while. I wanted to, because of this being Black History Month, that I wanted to tell some stories about some people in history. But I'm not going to do that, because it's not Black History Month. It's February, and Black people have history, and you can't just learn it every year. There's so much that you should know or read or care about, and it's not because you want to go back and say this is what not that part. The part that gives you the pride of people who were just in chains 2 months ago, and they broke free and became doctors and lawyers and inventors and invented major things. For those who are listening, I want you to go out and find all the things that Black people have invented, and maybe drop it in my comments. And so people, reading it can see if they didn't catch the ones because you will be amazed of all the things that we have invented that are major in this world, but that they didn't tell you, because we want to keep that scenario that we're lazy and we can't learn, and we're beneath, and we're not as good as, and we aren't human, and we don't have souls, and we don't. So that's what if anything, if you listen to my upload, I would ask you to go and find out all the things, or how many things you can find out that Black people invented, and drop it in my comments. I would appreciate. I appreciate all of my supporters who come and listen to me and leave comments for me. I guess God continues to give me things that I need to say, or I feel I need to say. I don't know. They just pop in my head, and then I just decide to start talking about it. But until next time, have a blessed day.